welcome back to Garyj Sports Page on GJRB Online, in Hour 2 of our Sports Page here on Saturday afternoon. Here on GJRB Online, our first show in like a long time. As I told you last hour, we haven't had this show on since last fall. And that's pretty sad. It was just like I said before, I was dealing with this program, trying to figure out how to do it better, and I'm trying to work on a co-host that will do this show with me, but I'm going to kind of wait until we kind of bump up to that 45-minute, that 50-minute, that new plan, going up to when I go up to broadcaster, and then I'll be able to do a little bit more limited breaks without having to, too many breaks, on the air live. It gets crazy. But anyway, welcome back to the program. This hour, talking about all kinds of sports and sports news. So let's go to the sports news, and see what's going on in the world of sports. We were going to talk about this hour, and so I thought we'd just kind of get started on it in our sports. Linebacker is quitting just after joining. Ravens linebacker could pencil in Paul Warrilow into the depth charts of 29-year-old linebacker who is already leaving town. Former Atlanta Falcon decided to retire from the NFL less than 24 hours after he joined the Baltimore, announced he is signing and left the Ravens coaching staff, searching for more answers at a time when otherwise he'd be smoothing out their roster. Here's what he has to say.
I spoke to him last night, and he was great. He was all ready and excited to go. So I was surprised. I assume he's trying to figure things out and work things out, what he wants to do. He and his family. So it's every person has the right to do that. So we'll just kind of see what he decides. We'll respect it, whatever it is.
So anyway, according to the NJ.com, Mike Hay, who covered Warrilow in Philadelphia last season. Warrilow's, I'm pronouncing it right, I think, Warrilow's change in heart stems and the fact that his wife is due with another child in September. He wanted to be with his family at that time, which is kind of understandable. Certainly admirable reason to pause his career, let alone one of the as an athlete in the league that burns through the players as quickly as the NFL does. Case says Warrilow wanted to play, but that his priorities changed, and that's understandable. Especially considering that the linebacker was forced to sit out all last season in Philadelphia with a torn ACL. He rejoined the Eagles for camp last year, but was let go without even seeing any preseason action. And that's a long time away from getting into the game. He wasn't guaranteed to make the roster in Baltimore, although his 413 tackles, 11 deflections, and 4 sacks in 72 career games surely gave him the leg up. But there was a need on the depth charts to inside linebackers as the team takes its time bringing Chris Board back from a concussion. If nothing else, Warrior's time with Baltimore giving the football fans a fantastic future trivia question. So there you go. He is understandably there. Here he is. He just signed up with the team. Circumstances just kind of played havoc with him. So he decided, well, I think I'm just going to just kind of back out, just quit, because why, with a family situation that he has right now, why fool with that, why mess with it? So I can understand his point of view there, because he has a right to do that. He certainly has a right to do that. So I hope his family situation changes. But I guess he's a good player. I never really see him play football, but it must be real good. All right, let's check out some more stories here and see what other things are going on. Kyler Murray makes strides to Kyler Murray and the Cardinals look better for the Vikings.
Continuing to make things happen. Murray shotgun, David Johnson in the backfield, another pass. It's a fade left, and there's a guy there, and it's caught at the 35-yard line. Getting behind Xavier Rhodes is Demir Bird, a hit of 33.
Well, that might be the longest throw that we've seen from Kyler Murray. What I don't like, Paul, is just the gait of Xavier Rhodes. He just turned the corner and looked a little gimpy. So you don't. This is the preseason.
So there you go. That's
criticism about the Cardinals
let's
starting
see
offense, struggling in their second preseason game against the Raiders. But Murray said the Cardinals.
Okay. Anyway, there's that's some of the comments on that. Here to play. The perfect world for air raid. Defensive Kyler Murray takes the NFL by storm right away and turning Arizona Cardinals into one of the most exciting teams in the league. And a rare anything to be the easy of the NFL. This might just take some time. Murray's third preseason game Saturday afternoon in Minnesota was better than the second last week, with Oakland Raiders teed off on Murray. Every blitz seemed to be a right timeout, and Cardinals had 12 yards in 4 possessions. Murray is trailed 26-0 and is ugly. So Kyler Murray settles in early, coming off the Oakland game, concerned that the Cardinals went 3 and out with Murray's first pass on Arizona's next possession, battling down Murray's deep ball down, and left the sidelines. And it just kind of tells the story about this. Kind of just a long story. Let's see what we got here. This is a recording from today. Watching the game Saturday 1 p.m. live on NFL Network. So I guess that's today, 1 p.m. live Eastern Time, 12 noon. So that's probably already been played. We'll find out about that one. Let's just hear more about this Kyler Murray.
Heard the criticism about the Cardinals starting offense struggling in their second preseason game against the Raiders. But Murray said the Cardinals are treating this week like a game week. The energy is a lot different. They've got a few wrinkles in to attack the Vikings defense on Saturday.
We have to execute what Coach calls at the end of the day, and he knows as well. We're running the same stuff, but at the end of the day, it's really not. It's up to us. It doesn't really matter what they're running, but it gets frustrating when there might not be anything open, and we go out there and we look like how we looked last week, and then people are talking about you, but you also got to understand, like I said, it's preseason, and we were running literally 6 or 7 plays.
Cardinals coach Cliff Kingsbury said Murray has shown great perspective, knowing they're not all in offensively just yet, but also need to execute at a higher level. One Cardinals player we will not see again in the preseason, 4th-round draft pick and wide receiver Hakeem Butler. He has a avulsion fracture in his hand and could be headed to injured reserve.
Well, there you go. So that is that story. Coming up, we'll talk about some other interesting stories in our sports page this afternoon. Gary J. Russell with you on GJRB Online, Gary J. Sports Page on a Saturday, and we're live here on Spreaker across America with the live sports page program on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. And let's take a look at what's going on in the scores right now this hour. Another score update. Let's see what's happening. Okay, taking a look at this one now. Looks like there's another run in for Washington. At the end of the 6th inning, the Washington Nationals over the Cubs 6-2. So the Cubs are losing that one pretty badly. End of the 3rd inning, New York Yankees. The Dodgers hit 2 runs now, 2-0 Dodgers over the Yankees. This is the latest score so far in the only 2 games playing today right now in Major League Baseball. Desmond Howard apologizes for an inappropriate joke at a college game day. Take a look at that one coming up. This one is interesting. A word of advice, though, to anyone who's asking former Michigan Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard what he thinks about the alma mater's chances for beating Ohio State this year. Let's check this out.
This college football season, there are players who are working for more than just a shot at a national championship. Some are hoping to shine and make it to the pros. I'm Amanda Borges, and it's time to take a look at some 2020 NFL draft prospects. Joining me now is Yahoo Sports NFL writer Eric Edholm. Eric, we start in Florida with a quarterback who has an arm that also translates to the baseball field. I think we've heard this story before.
Yes, we have. Felipe Franks, the quarterback for the Gators, drafted into MLB, not unlike Kyler Murray. Of course, the difference is Murray was a top 10 pick. Franks wasn't taken until the later rounds, but you can see why. I mean, you watch his tape, you see the incredible arm strength, certainly the baseball background as well. He's 6'6", 240 pounds. We're talking about a rare physical specimen, and the high-end throws last year were very impressive. However, you watch the tape long enough, like the Georgia game and the other examples along the way, Missouri, he struggled. There were times when he didn't look anything remotely like an NFL quarterback. So I believe this game in the opener against Miami on Saturday is going to have some real ramifications for his draft stock. Can he play well against a pretty talented defense and put some good tape out there, maybe change the narrative about his pro prospects just a little bit?
We sang a similar song last year, and now heading into this season, Arizona quarterback Khalil Tate is getting even more Heisman hype. So what can he do to help his draft stock and potentially hoist the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah, I mean, last year, coming into the season, there was so much hype about Tate. He goes out and struggles the first 2 games, had the ankle injury, had an offensive system that they were still kind of trying to fit to his skills. He was nowhere close to his 2017 form early on, but as the season went on, he stacked some big performances, and I really think this is an interesting showcase game for him. No, Hawaii does not have a great defense. That's not really the point, but I want to see him be a little bit more as an accurate passer and really kind of harness those exciting physical skills that he's running is part of his game. But we're now entering an NFL era where, you know, the Kyler Murrays and such, Lamar Jackson's, other run-dominant sort of quarterbacks in college football, spread-based players, they're getting looks that they didn't get 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I believe Khalil Tate has a chance this year to kind of revive that NFL draft talk a little bit and really kind of put his on the map of scouts this season.
Eric, as you mentioned, Arizona starts the season against Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm running something.
They get some more deserved attention from NFL scouts, even though they'll have to stay up late to watch him play in the Mountain West. That's Hawaii's Cole McDonald.
Yeah, I'll be one of those drinking the coffee to
lovely.
To watch these 2 guys. I mean, Cole McDonald, to me, is higher on my list than Tate is. And this is a special somebody we saw some real high last year. They made him from a running quarterback in high school,
fabulous,
in his career in Hawaii, to really an effective deep thrower. 25 yards down the field last year or more. So, you know, look, I'm not going to call him Patrick Mahomes, but he has that kind of improvisational ability, athletic ability, arm talent, all the special things you want to see on display. Can he string a lot of good games together, starting with this one against Arizona? They've got 3 Pac-12 games to start the year. I'm very excited to see how he plays in those, and I put him on a list of 10 potential risers who could sneak their way into round 1 with a big season. So you can tell I've got some real enthusiasm about his game, even with some questions.
3 quarterbacks who will be extraordinarily fun to watch this season. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Eric. For more on NFL draft prospects like these, keep it locked right here on Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like it would be interesting. Lovely. Oh, I could if you want me to. Lovely. Huh? Yeah, that can sound like fun. Oh, yeah. That story I was running is over now, so we are now on live. Oh. I love you. That's my wife calling you through Alexa Live. And that was running while we were on the that story about the Heisman Trophy. Yeah, I know. Lovely. Anyway, former Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard thinks about his alma mater causes beating Ohio State this year. Longtime ESPN commentator was joking around the College Game Day host Reese Davis during the game's 2019 season premiere on Saturday when Davis poised a question, but viewers who aren't familiar with the mid-aught sketch comedy, which caught into that, Davis and Desmond Howard gonna have to choke blank bitch. During this, he did this, and let's see what we got here. Kind of a foul language. Well, check this out. Check this out. This is apparently from that show. Let's see. Let's play here.
Will Michigan make a big enough splash to beat Ohio State this year? I know you've never been asked that question. Reese Davis, is Desmond Howard going to choke a bitch? I tell you what.
Okay, that's what they said. Choke the B-I-T-C-H. Howard back quoting a well-known Wayne Brady skit from the Chappelle Show. Two definitely had a good laugh over it, but reality might have struck shortly after that when Howard quickly was apologized for using that kind of language on the air. Which I wonder if he was called to the carpet for that. Quoting, I'm a big Wayne Brady fan, but I made a comment that was supposed to be taken as a joke. If I offended anybody, I apologize. Was it the smartest thing to say on a live TV show? Definitely not. It's probably safe to assume that the manager had some level of going to it, at least give him a warning. On the other hand, part of the allure of College Game Day is the free-flowing conversation and sophomoric antics which happened on the set. And it certainly falls into that category. And adds for another entry into the long history of curse words heard on the show. Okay, here we go. So now we're using these foul language on big national television. Okay, what's up with that? Okay, you know, here on Spreaker, if I say a word that might not be too good, you know, not be offensive to young listeners or, you know, young ears, the F-bomb, whatever the case, I don't use that on this program. I don't use this on this radio station. You will never see an explicit red marking on any of my shows here on Spreaker. Even though I can. I just don't. I just don't believe in it. I just don't believe in that kind of language over the air. I really don't think it's appropriate to use that. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. And it seems like, and I'll say this again, it seems like there's a lack of respect in the media as far as words used on the air. You know, when I was growing up, radio and television, if you used any foul language of any kind, any B word, any kind of on the air, you were probably first called to the carpet. And a lot of stations could stand to lose their license over it. Now, flash forward to 2019, 21st century. the FCC wouldn't give a rat's blankety blank what kind of words are used over the airwaves, because if they did, some stations or even network licenses would be up the creek without a paddle. So all of a sudden, I guess these kind of words can be used over public airwaves. I'm talking about public airwaves, the traditional radio and television, the AM, the FM. The radio license, back in the 50s, back in the 40s, would be pulled over some not so appropriate language over the airwaves. But now all of a sudden, I guess you can say whatever you want over broadcast airwaves and not... Yeah, I mean, really. This kind of stuff over the airwaves from Desmond Howard is kind of inappropriate, I agree. Why use that kind of language over airwaves? Some comments about this from a few people. Man, Chappelle's was a good TV. Chappelle's Wayne Brady sketch was a comic genius, one of the funniest bits ever seen. Someone wrote, if I had to apologize every time I quoted Chappelle's show, and I don't know, let me see if there's more comments here. Okay, so they're like all defending this guy. Every single comment on here, they're all like backing this guy up. So this is the kind of society we're living in, folks, where it's okay to use that kind of language over broadcast airwaves. It's just amazing. It really is. It's just a pity that we have to put up with this kind of garbage. It is. It's just plain pity. When you turn on the TV, and there's kids present, that they can still use that kind of language over public airwaves when people are tuning in and watching television. See, there's just no respect anymore for, there's so many stations on the air. There's so many, you got 500 stations now compared to, let's say, back in the 50s when you only had NBC, ABC, and CBS and 3 networks and maybe 3 to 4 stations in a general area. So, whatever the case, you're listening to Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB Online, and now looking at something here very interesting. There's a hurricane ready. Severe thunderstorm warning for Texas, expiring 4:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, tonight 60 degrees for a nighttime low. 75 degrees and chance of showers. New Orleans, Louisiana, 79 degrees. And dew point there, 89% of relative humidity. Tonight, 77 nighttime low, chance of showers, 86 tomorrow. More rain in your forecast. And let's take a look at what's going on the Weather Nation.
And if the storm continues inland after landfall, massive flooding from torrential rains is a major threat.
83% of the fatalities of the last...
So they're just talking about hurricanes. So we missed the window for weather forecast for Weather Nation. So we'll kind of push that another half hour and see what's up with that. So what I'll do is I'll kind of put that on hold, and maybe we can stay behind by a few minutes. So I'm going to do that and see where that leads me. Meanwhile, I'm going to go back to the sports page and continue the Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB Online. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 past the hour in all talk shows, 25 and 45 in all music shows, anytime in the hour that ends in 5. Weather on the 5s, right here on GJRB Online. Coming up next half hour, we'll do some more sports talk, and I'm going to, I think I'll go into my main Facebook page for a minute, because I'm thinking I want to see if there's anybody in the chat room that might, let's see if Ben, no, he has no light by his name. He is not on, he doesn't have a green dot or anything. No reply to my last message either. I had mentioned, and I invited him, if he wanted to join my sports page today, he could. But it looks like he's working again. Other people online right now that probably would be good with sports. I'm going to get a hold of him later. Bob Huber of Huber Experience, and I know he's really big and efficient on wrestling. We're going to talk a little bit about that. He's real good with that kind of stuff. So we're going to see what we can do about getting guests on this program frequently to make this more interesting. Let's see. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll take a look at the Bears' schedule for the season. Do that one. Take a look at the Chicago Bears and see what their season's going to be this year. See what's going on with them. So check that out. Also coming up, let's see what else we have coming up. Let's see. What else do we have coming up? Yes. We'll do more scores, and I'm going to do some baseball standings, too, coming up. So stay with me as we continue. Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB Online here on Spreaker across America on the GJRB Online Network. Thank you so much for tuning into the program and joining me for this program. Love doing this program. I love doing sports talk radio, kind of like. So I hope you enjoy the show. We got more coming up as we continue. Gary J. Sports Page on GJRB Online Network. We'll be right back.
.30 until 8 p.m. Rastrelli's Restaurant, 238 Main Avenue in the Lions neighborhood.
We have a great day.
Recently, the owner of Facebook had the Recently, the owner of Facebook had the Facebook. And welcome back to Sports Page on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. I'm Gary J. Russin, and this is our Sports Page talk show on a Saturday afternoon here in Spreaker, here on GJRB Online. And I'd like to thank you for joining me this afternoon, just talking sports on and get ready for the big games that are going to be part of our show today. We got, a lot of good sports to talk about in this hour. So I hope you'll stay with me throughout the afternoon for some great sports talk radio here on GJRB Online. Here at Spreaker, the Gary J. Sports Page here on GJRB. Sunny outside right now. Our beautiful day at our Spreaker studios here in Clinton. A little overcast skies, but it's not too bad. We'll take a look at weather on the fives one more time. We'll take a look at Clinton's weather. Also, a shout out to all our Spreaker followers out there. Let's do a Spreaker shout out coming up next hour. Talk about some of the programs coming up on GJRB as well in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that right here on GJRB Online. Right now, though, as we continue the Gary J Sports page here on GJRB Online, we're going to continue talking about some of the games going on and stuff like that, and do our scores again. We've got a score update coming up, so keep it here for that. Take a look at all the sports scores going on. We'll take a look at some more stories in the NFL, some more interesting ones in NFL news, and we'll get into. Let's see, where's my? Okay, this is not what I wanted. I want to go back to my Yahoo, which I think that's where I was getting a lot of my stories. And let's just go ahead and Google search the Bears. I'm going to do that one real quick here and get ready for the Bears schedule. So we're going to do that next. And take a look at that and do another score update. Scores every 10 minutes. And, of course, sports talk and sports news and various things like that on our first show of the season. And this is season 1 starting over again because we started this last year and then the show went away for a long, long time. So I thought, well, if the show went away for a long, long time, we just need to just restart it. So Sports Page starts all over again. And we're going to start the season over again with all the sports talk. And it got some sports stories over on Twitter, so I'll probably go in that direction next hour. Next Saturday, which, let's see, what is that? Next Saturday, which is the 31st, we will be doing a Gary Russell program Saturday Extra. We'll be back. Next Saturday, 3 o'clock Central, right here on GJRB Online, another Gary Russell program Saturday Extra next week, and that'll be probably our last regular show. Is that season that show season's going to end, and we're going to revamp that show as a periodic appearance on Saturdays when there is no football going on, no sports going on at all in the afternoon. And also we'll be on if there's no Hawkeye game, because if there's a Hawkeye game on a Saturday afternoon, there'll be some for sure Saturday 11 o'clock Hawkeye games. And when that happens, more than likely we will not be on the air, because a lot of this show usually airs on my 9-foot closed circuit Talk FM 108, and this show would be preempted by Hawkeye football. So more than likely there's going to be some Saturdays where we're not going to be on the air. But other than that, we try to be on the air as much as possible on Saturday afternoons with our music weekends and stuff like that along the way too. There'll be some Saturdays where if there's a night game, we're going to be on the air in the afternoon with our weekend programming. The first weekend of September, we're going to be back with the Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon, and the Best of Jazz will be back in the 3 o'clock time slot. So we're going to be doing that in 2 weeks. So next Saturday will be another Gary Russell program, Saturday Extra, and then the following Saturday we'll have our Best of Jazz back in its time slot with a brand new season. Also returning for a new season is Bluegrass Jubilee. I'm going to, I think that Bluegrass show, if I'm not mistaken, I have to look. I'm going to look on my rundown of schedules to see what we got here. And I'll talk about that next hour, but I'm going to look at that Bluegrass Jubilee real quick. Let me see. Just kind of go down the page here and see what we were at on that. Bluegrass Jubilee, like this program, starting our season back in February of last year. Again, Bluegrass Jubilee as a show is going to I'm going to do it just like this show. It's going to relaunch I'm going to relaunch Bluegrass Jubilee as Bluegrass Jubilee 101, and I'm going to take these 2 shows and delete them right now. They're going to go off the computer. Go off. And we're going to start all over again. Bluegrass Jubilee starting a brand new season, and we're going to do that next month. Okay, we're going to do that next month. September, I'm looking at a Saturday for Bluegrass Jubilee, and I have it set it up around the Hawkeye schedule. So we'll look at that and see what we're going to do with that next month. Okay, so that will be a September schedule, and we'll be looking at that. Also, the Blues House will be returning to as well, because I haven't had that program on in some time, so that will probably be relaunched if I don't have a Blues House already had launched a season. Let me check the Blues House real quick, and then we'll go back to sports here. But I wanted to kind of straighten things out as far as some of these programs that didn't air for a while, for any reason whatsoever other than the fact that I have a lot of shows and I can't keep up with them. Okay, the Blues House started their season with back on May 26, 2018. We haven't had a Blues House on. The last time we did a Blues House was 102 back on April 27th this year, early in the spring. So I guess we could just continue that. We won't launch a new season. We'll just pick up the season with episode 103, and we'll do that Blues House program, and we'll relaunch that one in the fall here as well. In September or October, we'll bring back the Blues House with episode 103. So those are some of the new changes being made here on GJRB Online. We'll talk more about that in my final hour of this program. Meanwhile, though, you're listening to Sports Page on GJRB Online. I'm Gary J. Russin, and this is the Gary J. Sports Page program here on Spreaker. And I hope you're enjoying the program. Don't get no listeners this hour, no listeners last hour. No one participating. We did get a call from my wife in the first hour. We do have a 1 on one of the parts of our sports page, which it looks like it was, let me see, if it's anybody listening in the last hour. So I'm going to the main homepage of Spreaker. See, maybe somebody was listening to our show. Caramel Conservative, last hour, was listening to the show. April, because I'm looking at my homepage on Spreaker here, and Ed Delgado was listening to us in the last hour. Probably found out it wasn't the Gary Russell program Saturday Extra, so he kind of vamoosed, but hoping maybe he will return to that broadcast. Should have checked to see if there was a message on that episode. No, there isn't. But there is a heart. So somebody was listening to the first hour of our program. So that's a good thing. We're getting somewhere here, but I guess he had something to do and left. But he could, a silent listener, someone listening in the background, tuning in earlier. So thank you for that. And maybe we'll get someone listening in this final hour of the program coming up, because we will do the Bears schedule. And since Ed was listening last hour, I don't know if he's a Packer fan or not, so we'll do a Packers schedule too as well. So we can try that one. I'm going to bring up the Chicago Bears real quick. Let's see. Oh. Let's take a look at our Chicago Bears schedule and see what we've got here. All right, let's take a look at the Bears schedule. Tonight at 6 o'clock, they're going to play the Indianapolis Colts in a preseason game. That's tonight. I don't know what time that is. I don't even know what channel that's going to even be on. I'll have to check the channel lineup, find out the time that game comes on. Preseason game tonight with the Bears against Indianapolis. And then on the 29th, which is a Thursday, they're going to play the Titans in preseason, 7 o'clock. Their first game The Bears' first game of the season will happen on Thursday, September 5th, when they play the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so that's going to be the first game playing the Green Bay Packers. That'll be on September 5th. That's Thursday. Then the following week, September 15th, they're going to play against the Denver Broncos. That's a 3:25 game. Then they're going to play up against the Redskins on September 23rd. That's a 7:15 game. Okay, 7:15. Playing on September 23rd. That is a Monday night game, September 23rd. The Bears will be playing the Packers. That is a Thursday night, September 5th. That's the Packers. Then the following week they play the Redskins. That's a 7:15 game. Then the following week, which will be September 29th, it's just before my wife and I have our anniversary. That's a night game on Sunday, the 29th. That'll be on NBC. So we got 2 games back to back there, it looks like, as far as seeing some good football. 3:25, the Bears play against the Vikings that following week. That's on the 29th. So that's a Sunday afternoon. And then on the 30th, we were talking about that earlier. I probably won't see that's a Steeler game. Okay, then we go to, let's jump to October. Just going to go through into October and see what their schedule is for October. So we're running down to a dwindling few here with about 3:24 left to go. So I'm probably going to take a station break here at the top of the hour and run some promos and spots and stuff here on Spreaker. And gonna do a pit stop here. So I'm probably going to do real quick here is do a station identification and run some spots, and then I'll be right back with more of Gary J Sports Page. Hope you're enjoying the show on Saturday afternoon here on GJRB Online, and I hope you're enjoying the Sports Page here on GJRB Online. Be right back. I'm going to take a station break, and we'll continue with the Pittsburgh Steelers the Chicago Bears football schedule. And that's coming up next after we take a short break. Gotta make a pit stop. Be right back with more of the Gary J Sports Page coming up next on GJRB. And the GJRB Online Network will be right back. Stay tuned. You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, smooth jazz, and smooth afternoon. If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming, and programming in other great music formats, like blues, urban, including rap, also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA. Listen and enjoy.